Hello and welcome to my software engineering presentation. The title of my project is Hospital Management System, and I'm going to be demonstrating my prototype for for the hospital management system. So to start off, I identify 6 users, which are doctors, receptionists, patients, nurses, technician, and system administrator. So I also identify the user stories for each of the users and the acceptance test, both positive and negative. For my prototype, I'm using a software called Figma to demonstrate how the software is going to look like. So for the users, the first user is doctor. Doctor, for the user story, doctor wants to register into the system. So to demonstrate, the first form the doctor is going to encounter is the form which the doctor will fill in the name or all the credentials to be able to register in the system. So for the positive acceptance test, register into the system, and the negative could not register into the system, which is being demonstrated here. So register into the system, this is the acceptance test which I have indicate by making it green. So when the doctor registers, he clicks this, which will take him to the login page, which will indicate that the doctor has successfully registered into the system. But for the negative acceptance test, if the doctor does not register, it will show failed to register. For the second user story, the doctor wants to log into the system. So doctor log into the hospital management system to verify accounts. So once the doctor finally register, the doctor will enter the credentials into those boxes, and when he does that, he can now log into the system by clicking the doctor and to take the doctor to the doctor menu. If the doctor does not fill in the boxes and could not log into the system, that's the negative acceptance test, which is this. It will say missing information or please enter the correct username and password, login fail. That's the negative acceptance test. So could not log into the system. The third user story is doctor wants to enter patient ID to access details and give prescription. So enter patient ID number to view details. So once the doctor finally logs into the system and goes to the doctor menu, the doctor can enter patient ID, which is name and ID. So this is the positive and negative. So once the doctor clicks this to take them to the patient menu, so the doctor can now view the patient information, that is medical history, and give prescription. So the enter, but if the doctor fails to enter or the patient information is incorrect, this is the negative acceptance, which will say login to the patient fails, which is it could not enter patient ID number. So the last one is doctor wants to check test results. So this is the prescription. The doctor can give prescription, and then the negative acceptance test is this: failed to register patient symptoms. And this is to check the patient history and test. So this is the positive acceptance test, and if the patient's test or medical history is not found, this is the negative acceptance test, which is test result failed, which is this: could not check the test results. So that's for the doctor user story. For the second user story, which is reception. So receptionists want to register onto the system. So first of all, this is the registration form. So once the receptionists fill in their credentials, the first acceptance test is receptionists log into the system. They're registered into the system. So once the receptionist successfully filling this, it will click here and take them to the login menu, which will indicate that the receptionist has successfully logged into this and registered into the system. The negative acceptance test is could not register into the system, which I identify as this. So when you click this, it says fail to register, fails to register. So that's just another one of it. The second user story is receptionists want to log into the hospital management system. So the acceptance test is enter user name and password to correctly verify their accounts. So once the receptionist enters the username and password, this is the positive acceptance test. It clicks this and it successfully takes the receptionist to the receptionist menu, which is identified as this. And if the receptionist couldn't does not this is the negative test case, was not able to log into the hospital management system. So this is the negative acceptance test. Click this and to tell you missing information or please enter the correct username and password. Login failed. So that's just for the negative acceptance test. The third one is receptionists want to register patients. So after logging into the system, after the receptionist log into the system and goes to the receptionist menu, the receptionist can now put in the patient details or credentials here. And once they do that, the positive test result is to add the patient to the system. And once they do that, registration successful. That means the patient has been registered into the system. But the negative test case was not able to register patient successfully. So if the receptionist tried to register patient and could not register patient, is to say registration failed. So that's the test case for this one. And then the last one is for the receptionist is receptionists want to book patient. So the test one was able to book appointment for the patient. So it comes here, navigate to the book appointment button. So this is the test, the positive test case. So click this and then it takes you to the book appointment, where you can enter the time and dates and everything about the patient, and then can now successfully add and book appointment for the patient. But if the receptionist could not able to book appointment, which is this, was not able to book patient appointment, this is the negative test case, and it says fail to book appointments. So that's the user story for the receptionist. So the next users is the patient. So the first user story is the patient wants to book appointments in the system. So once the patient clicks here, you first encounter there's a button that says book appointments. So once the patient clicks this, it says successfully book appointment to the system. That's the positive test case. So the patient clicks this and it takes them here, and then they can successfully book appointments. But if if the software does not work, so it could not book appointments on the system, it will take them. This is the negative as test case. It says fail to book appointment on the system. So then the next user story is patients want to edit their personal information, and then the positive test case is successfully edit their personal information. So after booking appointment or want to edit their information, you can click this and say edit successfully. That's for the positive test case for the patient, and the negative test case is could not edit their personal information. And this is the negative test case, and it says edit failed. The last user story for the patient is patients want to check their medical history in the hospital management system. So the first positive test case is successfully checked medical history. So once the patient comes here to the book the appointment tab, there's a section that says medical history. So the first test case is successfully check medical history. You can click this, and to show the medical history, this is just a rough sketch of how it will look like. So we checked the medical history, and then the negative test case is could not check medical history. So this represents the negative test case. So when you click this, it says test result not found, which is the medical history was not found. So that's for the patient acceptance test and user story. The next user will be the nurse. The user story is the nurse wants to register into the system. The positive test case is register into the system. So it goes here, and this is the registration form. So the positive outcome is if the nurses click the register buttons, it takes them to the login screen, which indicates that successfully registered into the system. The negative test case is could not register into the system, which is this. So click here. It says registration fail. The next one is nurse wants to log into the system. Positive test cases was able to log into the system, the hospital system. So after registering to the system, fill in this login form, click the nurse button, and it takes them to the home page, which is the home page for the hospital management system. But failure to do that, let's say, could not put in the right information. This is the test. Negative test case was not able to log in. So click this, and it says missing information and gives this warning. The next user story for the nurses is want to view patient's medical history, was able to view patient medical history. So in the home screen after logging in, there is a button that says medical history. Click here, and this is just a rough sketch of the medical history for the patient. And then the negative acceptance test case was not able to view medical history. So go here, and then the negative acceptance test is test result fails. The last user story for nurse is want to register patient symptoms to the hospital. So the positive test case was able to register patient symptoms to the system. So after logging in the home screen, there is this button right here. So this is the positive test case. So click this, and then there's different section where the nurse can put the symptom here and register, and then click here. And then the negative test cases was not able to register patient symptoms. So going here, after logging in, go here. This is the negative acceptance test. Click here, and it says failed to register patient symptoms. So that's just for the nurse user story, positive test case and negative test case. The next user will be the technician. So the first user story is technician wants to register into the system. The positive test case is register into the system. So come here, fill in the registration form, click here, take the technician to the login page, which indicates that the technician has successfully registered into the system. The negative test case is could not register into the system. Click here to say failed to register. The second user story for the technician is the technician wants to log into the system. Um, Jake log into the hospital management system using the valid credentials. So after registering into the system, fill in the login box, click here, and to take the technician to the home page. The negative test case is could not log into the system, which is this. So click here, and then this error message will pop up indicating that the technician was not able to log into the system. The next user story is technician want to access patient information. So after successfully registering and logging into the system, can now click the medical history to view the patient's medical history and medical records. So that's the successfully access patient information. The negative test case is could not access patient information. So come here, click the negative test case and says test results failed. So coming to the next user story for technician. Technician want to create accounts for doctors, staffs. So the first positive test case is successfully created account for staffs. So after logging into the system and then going to the home page, then clicks the doctor, and then the doctor menu comes in. So there's two options, the positive and negative test case. So after filling in the doctor information, can click here and say successfully created account for doctor. But if not, the negative test cases could not create a staff account, that doctor account too, which is indicated here as the negative test case. So click here and said failed to create account for doctors, staffs. So that's just for the technician. Yeah. The last and final user is the system administrator. So the first user story is the system administrator wants to register into the system. The positive test case is register into the system. So if you go here, and the system administrator will fill in their credential, and then click here, take them to the login page, which will indicate that successfully registered into the system. But the negative test case is could not register into the system. So come here and then click here and say failed to register. The second user story is system administrator wants to log in to the system. So positive acceptance test is successfully log in to the system. So after registering, put their right credentials into these boxes, click here, and then take them to the home page, which will indicate that they have successfully logged into the system. The negative test case is could not log into the system. So come here, and then this is the negative test case. Click here, and then this error message will come indicating that the system administrator failed to log into the system. The third user story is the system administrator wants to record patients that are admitted and discharged to the hospital. Let's say patients that are admitted into the hospital or discharged into the hospital. So the positive test case is successfully record patients that are admitted and discharged in the hospital. So click here. So there's a button that says room. So click, and then the system administrator will now fill in the patient ID, patient's number, their gender, name, and then the room number. Click here, and then successfully record patient that are admitted and discharged in the hospital. So the negative acceptance test is could not record patients that are admitted and discharged in the hospital. So this is the negative acceptance test. Click here and says could not record patients that are admitted and discharged in the hospital. So the final user story for the system administrator is the system administrator wants to delete patients that are admitted and discharged in the hospital. Let's say the patient has left and the patient wants his information deleted, or they want to delete his information. So come here. So there's a button that says here, so the positive acceptance test is successfully deleted patients that are admitted and discharged to the hospital. So click here. It says successfully deleted patients that are admitted and discharged to the hospital. For the negative test case, could not delete patients that are admitted and discharged to the hospital. So this represents the negative test case here. So click here. Say could not delete patients that are admitted and discharged to the hospital. So yeah, that's the final user and user story for the prototype. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video. Thank you.